Hello, everybody, and welcome back to a new week. Certainly is a new week. It's been here in North Carolina, been really, really sunny this week. On the Create Your Own Nancy Drew Game podcast that I have been running recently. This week, I am with somebody who I don't really know all that well, and their name is
AKA papenniesandbentoboxes.
Yay, Ray! Ray's here. You did an episode of Katie's podcast, right?
No, I didn't.
Oh, you didn't. You did not. I don't know why I thought you did.
I came into Tumblr like last July, and
Gotcha.
I missed most of that.
Gotcha. That podcast is what gave me the idea to do this podcast. So
Yes.
I didn't know if you were on there, because I know I did like 2 episodes and like everybody at one point was on there. So is this like your first podcast?
Yes, this is my first podcast.
Well, it's mine too. So we're
Yay!
Well, this is like my 5th episode, but like it's my first general podcast. So I'm just like, cool. So I guess, Ray, one question that I don't know the answer to, because I really don't know you all that well, is what is your favorite game?
My favorite game. It's kind of a toss-up because I love so many of the games, but I think my favorite all time, that's been one of my favorites just consistently, is Curse of Blackmore Manor.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that was the first one I ever completed on my own. And so it has a special place in my heart, and also the vibes. It's just so good.
Yeah, I used to think as a kid that it was so hard. Like it just was really hard for me. Like it took me forever to beat it because I thought it was just hard for like my age. I don't know. I think it's definitely like one of the most difficult games out there, but also one of the best. So it's like,
Oh, it is. Yeah.
Because I think I got stuck on like the whole forge part of the game, with like the columns, and I just got so confused and I never beat it. So I didn't beat the game until like my teenage years, like my late teens.
Yeah, the thing that really stumped me in the game was, for some reason, it was the key at the end.
That too, yep.
And like I couldn't figure it out. I kept trying every single thing, and I was just like, what am I not doing? What am I doing wrong?
Yeah, absolutely. Have you been playing the games like all your life, or are you recent, or?
Well, I started playing them with my childhood friend when I was 8.
Oh, nice.
We were down in the basement having like a tea party or something, and her big sister was playing Danger on Deception Island, and I was like, what's she doing? And she's like, oh, she's playing a Nancy Drew game. And I was like, there are Nancy Drew video games? Because I had been reading the Nancy Drew books since like I learned how to read. And so when I found out about the games, I was like, we need to play these games together. And so we started so many of them, but we never finished any.
Oh, wow. And hearing you say that is a good segue into my next question, which was, have you read the books? And it seems that you have.
Yes.
So,
I was that weird reading kid.
Oh, me too. Yeah.
Sorry, I was just choking on my own hair.
Oh,
But
sorry.
I would read the Nancy Drew, the classic yellow books. I love them so much that I read, like, I think all of them multiple times.
Oh, yeah.
And I also read the Girl Detective ones, but I never read the Nancy Drew files from, like, the 80s and stuff because my library didn't have them. And so I was like, well, that's, that sucks. But, I don't have time to read them these days.
Yeah, I was trying to remember what the name of those specific like era of books, the Girl Detective ones, because those are the ones that I read the most in comparison to like the yellow back covers and the ones from the 80s. But I couldn't even remember what like their subtitles were, so I was just like the books that came out in, like the 2000s and like the 90s.
The eye and the
mouth.
Yeah.
Right, and like those were just, I don't know what else to say about them except they were the ones that were like in the 2000s, and I'm like, I don't know what those were called. So now I'm glad that you clarified that for me, because every single episode I've been like, the ones from the 2000s. So it must be like fun for you to like play the games and draw connections between like the books that the games were based on, if like you've read those. Because I know there's so many games, like every single game is pretty much based off of 1 or 2 books. So
I haven't read like the 90s-ish ones that were the 80s-ish 90s ones that most of the big games were based off of, but
Right.
like Secret of Shadow Ranch and Secret of the Old Clock, those ones are, I think those are the only ones that are based off of the classics. I could be wrong though. I could definitely be wrong, but I
Right.
remember playing Secret of the Old Clock and I'm just like, this is nothing like the books.
Well, because Secret of the Old Clock is based
It's
on like, the first 3 books
multiple,
of the series.
yeah. It's
Yeah.
like you just push them all into one mystery and it's like, wow, that's a lot.
Because I think it's like the character of Jane appears in like the second book, but The Secret of the Old Clock is the first book, and it's like it's weird. It's like
Yeah.
or maybe it was that Emily Crandall's in the second book. One of those were in the second book or the third book. It's so like it's just weird. Yeah. Have you watched any of the like the shows or like the movies that have came out?
Yeah, when the Emma Roberts one first came out, I was
Yes,
obsessed with it.
me too.
Like, I've always been in a constant Nancy Drew phase. And so when that came out, it just, made it a little bit stronger.
She did really good, I thought. I thought she did really, really good.
She's like the perfect goody two-shoes Nancy. Like,
Right.
Nancy's such a goody two-shoes, but she's also like extremely chaotic, and her breaking in all these different places and also being a goody two-shoes was just perfect Nancy.
Yeah, and
I also
didn't she have like a brother in that movie? Am I mistaken?
she had like this friend that was kind of like a brother.
There was a little kid. There was a little kid.
Yeah, and he would just hang around with her and stuff. I need to see the movie again. It's been ages.
And then Ned was my boy Max Terrio, who I'm a big like Bates Motel fan, and so like Max Terrio was in that show, the guy that played Ned in that movie. So that's how because I remembered him, and I remembered Emma Roberts. And I remembered that like it was like a murder mystery, kind of thing. Like there was like a murder in the past, I think, and like that connected to the present stuff happening.
Mm-hmm.
I remember just like a murder, and then I haven't seen it in a long time. I remember there was like a murder, and like Max Terrio was in it, and there was like a little boy. That's all I remember about it. But I used to love it as a kid. Yeah, I need to personally watch the show to give it a try because it's, from what I've heard, it's like Riverdale, which I love. I'm obsessed with for some reason. So I need to check it out.
The CW show, I have watched it. I'm watching it right now, but it's like at first I didn't like it because it seemed like way too edgy for me, and like I'm not used to Nancy Drew stuff being like edgy.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like, okay, this is a bit much, but then like once you get into it, it gets like really heartfelt and like all the pieces start coming together. It's kind of that, one of my favorite tropes is the found family trope. And
Absolutely.
all these misfits are like this great friend group family, and I am loving it.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And my last question is like, what are your outside Nancy Drew stands and faves? What do you like
boy.
besides that?
Okay, well, I love Lord of the Rings.
Oh yeah.
I have a side blog on Tumblr dedicated to Lord of the Rings.
Perfect.
It's extremely chaotic and stuff, but like I've watched the Lord of the Rings movies like for the past 10 years, at least 3 times a year. And I have yet to be sick of those movies. I read the books when I was little, but will I ever have time to read them again?
Probably not.
We'll never know.
The movies combined are like 10 hours long, right? So it's like, oh my god.
Yeah, they're like 3 hours long each, which is like about 9 hours, unless you watch the extended editions.
Which I'm sure you have.
Which I have. I don't own them, but I have watched them, and they're all like nigh 4 hours, I guess, because there's a lot of stuff in them.
Oh yeah, right.
But yeah, and I also love Star Wars. I'm a huge Star Wars fan.
Oh yeah, I'm getting ready to go to Disney for the first time, and so I'm hoping to stop by the new like Star Wars land that's there. I think it's called Galaxy's Edge or something like that.
Yes. Yeah. And that the place it's supposed to take place in, Batuu, is actually mentioned in some of the books that I've read with Star Wars, and so like if I ever get to go there, I'm gonna be like completely like nerding out, just freaking out over the whole thing.
Yeah, and they have like the cantina. The like the do, like they have that there at Disney because my friend went and took a picture inside it. So it's like, wow, it's just awesome.
I love Star Wars. Which kind of brings me to my next thing. I love music and movie scores. I can't get enough of the Star Wars ones. They're so good. And because like there's the originals, there's the prequels, there's the sequels. The sequels are probably my least favorite Star Wars stuff, but they're still Star Wars. But like all the
John
music,
Williams' music.
John Williams is like one of the best composers. Like so amazing.
He's done so much. It's crazy.
The Revenge of the Sith score.
Another good composer is Bernard Herrmann. Do you know who that is? He like wrote the Psycho score, and he wrote that Twisted Nerve song that's like do 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 do. Like he just like wrote stuff. But him and John Williams are my fads for sure.
Yeah, and I think my favorite movie score that I'm constantly listening to is the How to Train Your Dragon score. So if anybody has not listened to that, go check it out. It's amazing. I listen to it so many times a year.
Get out! Like, we did a marching band show about How to Train a Dragon, and like the first song was do 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 do.
I love that so much. That makes me very happy.
It was so hard because I was like a clarinet player, so I'd be like do 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 do.
Oh yeah.
It was so hard. Oh my gosh! I'm glad that we can relate to that because that was a fun piece of music to play.
Oh, yeah.
Well, we've been talking a lot. We probably should get into your game.
Yeah, we should get into the mystery. Okay.
So again, don't tell me the title until the end because I want to try to guess it.
All right.
So we'll start with like the central mystery, like what's happening here? What's she trying to solve? How did she come?
All right. So, are we going to like? What are we going to do with the spoilers? Because there are spoilers for another game.
Go ahead. Okay, go ahead and state the game that the spoilers come from, and then just like.
There are spoilers from The Silent Spy.
Oh my gosh, amazing. Okay. So I'll flag this as Silent Spy spoiler for everybody listening.
Yeah.
Cool. And then just like spoil stuff whenever you want to because you put that disclaimer out there.
Sweet. So this is the mystery takes place at a circus. And the circus is somehow connected to a series of, it's kind of connected to a bunch of like counterfeit money appearing in different places.
Oh, yeah.
Those are all places like the circus has been near. And somebody also found a possible connection to Revenant. And the Hardy Boys are investigating the circus because of the counterfeiting and the financial terrorism with the network, RIP ATAC. And so they're like, hey, guess who knows Revenant better than anyone else?
Nancy Drew.
Other than everybody else, Nancy Drew. And so they call on Nancy. They're like, hey, we have something you might want to see. And, you might want to take a look at this. And, she never says no to a mystery.
Amen. Yep. And of course you have to have your boys in there.
I have to have my boys.
Especially
I love
Frank. Yep.
Both of them. I love them. Okay. But yeah, and we need a circus game.
We do. Imagine the music. The music would be amazing. One of my favorite things about the games is the music. So like the music would just be amazing. And like me being a theater kid, like is so directly related to the circus. So it's like, it would be so good. It would be great. Yeah. But continue, sorry. We're just talking about music again.
I, too, am a fellow theater kid, so music is also very important to me. But yeah. And, it's a lot of it is based off of my own experiences with a circus that I was in. And so, like, I really want more accurate representation of circus life. Because there's so many things where it's like, this is wrong. Like, movies and stuff. I'm like, oh, that wouldn't happen, but okay.
More representation for the circus. More accurate representation for the circus in media.
Yeah.
Great, great.
All right. So, where are we moving on to next?
Oh, I guess my main question, since you're a good book fan, is this like, did you base this off any of the books that you read from the series, or is this
Oh,
like new?
no, I didn't. I didn't base it off any of the books, but there is a book where Nancy is solving a mystery at a circus, and I had forgotten about that when I wrote this up, and so that was like, huh, that's
So I guess it
cool.
could kind of be related if you wanted it to be.
It's
Like you
kind
could
of,
read
I
that book
guess.
and maybe help. Yeah, right, right. Cool. So, what like season is this in? Is this like a summer mystery or a winter mystery?
Mhm.
Like, what's the atmosphere like? Like, is it like what's the mood of the game?
It's a summer mystery, and it all
Oh,
takes
nice.
place outside, except for like in the tents and stuff.
Yes, that's
So,
awesome.
like, because my circus, we would tour during the summer, and just we would go to like open fairgrounds and just set up the circus stuff and perform, take them down, move on, and stuff. And so, in because I have performed circus stuff in the rain, I'm sparing the players of this game that experience. It is going
Oh
to be
yeah.
sunny the entire time.
Yeah, so let's address the elephant in the room. What was your like circus role? Were you just a performer? Like, what did you do when you were in the circus? Because
I
I'm curious
Yeah.
now.
I was an aerialist, and
Oh,
I was
nice.
also a tumbler, and I was also a ring mistress. And that the ring mistress part that I did, it's also kind of related to something that happens to Nancy in the game.
Oh yeah, don't give that
And
away yet.
yeah, I also did low wire for a while, which is it's a tight wire, but you don't have the huge poles, and it's 6 feet above the ground, but there's like no padding under it, so if you fall, you fall. And I actually got hurt that way, but I'm
Oh
better
my
now.
gosh.
But
You're
yeah,
here now.
it's fun. Circus is so much fun. And actually last week's episode, didn't Loquats Fergie mention that she did aerials and stuff?
She did. Yes, she does
Yeah,
aerials from the ceiling. Yes.
that's so cool. Yeah. Oh, another aerialist.
Yeah,
Cool.
because she wanted to do an aerial-based mystery, but she's like, her interactive would never ever have the kind of graphics to do that correctly.
Oh yeah.
um, um, so that is just awesome. Anyway, we're totally like distracted, but it's okay.
Yeah.
'Cause
Totally
it still
distracted.
relates.
All right.
Um, so is it modern or is it like in the past? What does it
It
have
is
to be?
modern. It is modern, so there are things like cell phones and stuff like that. Yeah.
Oh, good, 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 good. Um, um, great. So, um, I guess here you've seemed to have got the characters nailed down. What's your characters like?
Ooh, okay. So the characters. I have uh 6 main suspects,
Oh, nice.
and there's another one that I was thinking of putting in because like his character would kind of like bring together like the whole circus vibe, but he's
Hmm.
not necessary to the plot. So I'm kind of like, oh, would I put him in or not?
Maybe he could be
So
like a phone friend or something. I don't know, or
yeah,
like just
he's I'll get to when I get to
yeah.
it.
That's fine. That's fine. Get it to him when you're ready.
Yeah. So the first character is Antoine Rousseau. He
Mm.
is the president of the circus, and if her interactive can use Jeff Bridges, David Tennant, and Helena Bonham Carter as face claims, I can use Aldous Hodge as a face claim for him.
That's true. Yes. Yeah.
So,
Yep.
eh. And Antoine, he was born in Paris, France, and he lived in Paris, France. And he actually came to the circus when it was touring over the world. And he kind of just got like swept up in all the circus amazingness and was like, you know what? I want to be a circus person. And so eventually he just got so immersed in it that when the old president died, he was appointed to the role. And so he kind of just, that's his thing. He loves circus.
Yeah. Who does it? Come on. Who doesn't love this?
Yeah. And he's the only person at the circus who knows why Nancy and the Hardy Boys are there. He has
Oh,
been
gotcha.
fully cleared by the network and stuff. And uh so yeah, they've briefed him on the situation. He knows what's up and he's like, okay.
So
I'll
that's kind of
cooperate.
what makes him suspicious, is that he knows everything kind of about them that's happening.
Yeah.
Like possibly. Gotcha.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Cool.
Each of these characters are a bit sus.
Sus. So that's his thing. He's sus because he is from France. Just kidding. He's sus. He's sus because he knows why they're there and could easily say like, "Hey, could like just if he knows why they're there, he can foil them more easily." So
Yeah. And the next character is Danny Renteria. He is a performer in the circus. He's actually the catcher for the Flying Trapeze Act, which means he's the one who's pretty much just hanging by his knees the whole time, catching people and throwing them back.
oh right, yeah,
Um,
from the
yeah,
swings, yeah,
yeah. And actually, in this game, we have a married duo because we don't really have those.
right.
And I was like, you know what? That would be nice. That would be cute. And so his wife is actually part of the Flying Trapeze Act with him. And so they do a lot of stuff together. But Danny he's quiet and sarcastic, but he's also kind of fun. But he is very sus because he's very closed off about anything that's not circus related.
Ooh,
And
so
like he's
like you don't
very
really know about his like personal life.
like he
Yeah.
doesn't want to talk about that at all. And so next character is Morgan James. Ooh, yeah, wait,
Real quick.
yeah.
Wait. Have
Uh-huh.
you ever played the Mystery Case Files games? Although they're PC games, they're like hidden object games that Big Fish Games made.
I have not played them, but they do sound interesting. I am
Well,
intrigued.
there are two games called Madame Fate that's set in a carnival, and there's a lot of characters that are like this that I think you would be interested in playing these games. The first one is
Ooh.
Great Hidden Object, and the second one is Hidden Object Adventure. But they're like straight like there's a trapeze artist, there's the person that gets shot out of the cannon, there's the lion tamer, there's the mermaid woman, like she's a mermaid woman. There's the straw
Yeah.
man, the magician. So it's kind of like a mix of a circus and a carnival and a freak show all in one. But I think that you would like that because the characters are a lot like what you're describing right now. But anyway, continue. Sorry.
All right. So next is Morgan James Renteria. She is an aerialist. Mainly, she also does the flying trapeze with Danny, but she also does things with like the silks and the lyra hoop and the single or static trapeze and stuff.
Right.
And so she mainly focuses on that. But she's really fun and bright and sassy and stuff, and she gets along well with Nancy because they have very similar fashion taste, which is none. But
Yeah,
she
like
actually she compliments Nancy on her horse shirt.
oh my gosh, like she's like that's a shirt that
she's like,
I
oh,
like.
I like that.
Like who else likes that? Nobody.
Yeah.
Mm.
But yeah, she's kind of eccentric and stuff and really fun.
And like go in her dressing room and you see a bunch of mom jeans just laying around. But she's not performing. Oh my god.
Yeah, totally.
Amazing.
But yeah, so why she is suspicious is because since Danny is also so closed off, she's also extremely closed off. And she kind of seems to be covering for him. But at the same time, and there are like little, what's the word, like discrepancies or something, like little holes in some of the things she says, which Nancy's like, huh, that's suspicious.
Caught that. Yeah, like I caught you in a lie.
Yeah. Okay, the next character is Derek Ellis, which is the head of the Wirewalkers.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. And who was it? Was it Hotchkiss and Tell who was talking about how like we don't have any male redhead characters except for Detective Beach. And so I was like, guess what? We're getting a male redhead character. Okay.
Yes, we are.
And he's not the creepy uncle kind of redhead, okay? He's pretty. But Derek is like, he's charismatic and he's fun and stuff. And he has a lot of quotable one-liners.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, he's fun.
So not only are we having a male redheaded character, we're having a hot male redheaded character.
Yes.
So it's like a kind of a 2 up there from what everybody's wanting.
Yeah.
Wow.
And why he is sus is like pretty much everyone else. He he knows stuff about the circus, and he's also really, really closed off about his personal life and everything. And I wrote something else here, but I can't understand it. Okay.
I hate when that happens, when you're looking back on your notes. And like, what did I mean by that?
Yeah. I have this Grammarly thing on my Google Docs, which is what I'm reading this from, and it's like, it's not the greatest, and so I'll write something down, it'll correct it, and I'm like, I have no idea what I wrote there.
Oh my gosh. Okay. It's all right. It's all right.
The next character is Kathy Sanders. She is the cook for the circus. She's a bit eccentric, and she's like always cooking stuff in the cook shack, which I will get to when we get to locations.
Nice.
And when she's not making food for the circus, she's making food to herself, for herself and stuff. And she's Jewish, which I thought would be a cool thing to like put into the games, because we do need some more representation. She's cool. But she part of why she is sus is that her son was actually killed in a car accident before the game takes place, and she doesn't think that it was an accident.
Ooh.
And she's very vocal about that.
Oh my god.
And so so Nancy's like, that is sus, because she could be doing this like out of revenge or something. Like she could maybe something's going on with her. And so
it was somebody in the circus that caused it, and so she's mad. And
yeah. She's thinking there's something that's going on here, and she's really mad about that stuff. And then the next character is Mara Taurabi. She is the ring mistress, and she's very cold and standoffish. But when she gets into her costume and she gets out during the show with her little microphone and everything, she turns into a completely different person and into this charismatic, fun, beautiful, social butterfly ring mistress. And
we all know somebody like that who like will put on a facade on stage, but is just a horrible person in real life. Like I know someone like that. It's just like not fun. It's not fun.
It's not that she's a horrible person. She just doesn't like talking to
anybody.
Right.
That's what I meant.
Yeah, she's
she's cold, but she doesn't show it on stage.
Yeah, she prefers to be alone like 24/7. So she's like that. And the reason she's sus is because she acts like it. She doesn't talk about anything. She's very uncooperative with Nancy. She just doesn't want to talk. And so Nancy is like, well, that's obviously suspicious.
Yeah, very suspicious.
Yeah.
So applause for having a Jewish character. I am not Jewish, but I know that we need a lot more representation when it comes to religion in the games. Is there a character that already exists that you like think might be Jewish? That you like? I'm curious about that question. Like, is there a character that you think that you've always kind of had like canon that might be Jewish from any of the games?
I'm not Jewish.
Oh, you're not? Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm not. No.
I'm sorry.
I have friends that were like talking about it, and I also have one of my mom's friends is also Jewish, and so they're like, yeah, we need more representation. So I'm like, guess what I'm gonna do?
Oh, I thought that you were, because the way you said that before, I thought that you were Jewish, but you're like, I'm not Jewish.
But I do have some neurodivergent characters, because I'm autistic and my sister is ADHD, and so I decided we need more characters like that. And so Mara, the ring mistress, she's autistic.
Oh wow!
And
amazing.
And Morgan, the aerialist, she's ADHD. So
I'm ADHD too, so I feel you, Morgan. I cannot sit down. I cannot sit down, and I cannot sit straight. It's just horrible.
Yeah. But yeah, like all the characters are like, they're interconnected. They all know each other. They've known each other for years, and so like, who knows? Maybe there's another Labyrinth of Lies, Murder on the Orient Express thing happening. But like, who knows?
That game gets so much crap, and I love it. I love that game.
I love it because it's like exactly like Murder on the Orient Express with the suspects and stuff. We need to put this as a spoiler tag
for Murder on the Orient Express.
For Labyrinth of Lies, because we just spoiled it.
Yeah, so basically everybody, for a second, we're shifting. Labyrinth of Lies, everyone's the culprit. But it's also like such a good theater game. Like it's so immersive, even though like it never will happen like that. Like you cannot like transform your audience like down below like that like what the game is implying. I just think it's so much more immersive as a theater nerd than Final Scene was. I love Final Scene too, but like Final Scene was more focused on like a movie theater,
Yeah, yeah.
and like this is straight like theater. So
what
I
really
just like,
got me with Labyrinth of Lies was Grigor saying, "Don't touch that; it'll kill you." About the fly system.
and then she touches it because it will kill you.
Yeah, it
Um,
will, and that's what everybody says when you're back there. If you're not supposed to be messing with the fly system, they'll be like, "Hey, don't touch it; it'll kill you." There have been
yeah,
so
so
many
maybe
times where I've been
maybe
talking
this
to
is
kids.
right.
Ugh,
Maybe this is a labyrinth of lies situation. Everybody's the culprit, which I think is always
who
awesome.
knows?
Anyway, so let's just since we know the characters, let's talk about the locations you can visit and like where all of these characters are located in the game.
I do
Um,
have phone friends though.
I'll go ahead
So
and talk about those.
phone
Yeah,
friends.
talk about those
All
first.
right. So we do have phone friends Bess and Henry Bolet.
Yes, yes, yes,
I
yes.
need more Henry. Okay. Ever since like the whole Legend of the Crystal Skull thing, they've been friends and stuff. And because you know how Bess is like complete sunshine and Henry's kind of like the goth boy. They look like complete opposites, but they're good friends, and they're hanging out in New Orleans, and they're giving Nancy hints and stuff, and so that's fun because I love Bess and
I
Henry.
love Bess and I love Henry Ballet.
Just they're great. And the other phone friends we have are Zoe Wolf because she also is extremely connected with like the whole Revenant stuff.
Perfect.
And
I love
so
her
like the
too.
Hardy Boys because they're like, you know, they have files and stuff, they're agents. They have contact with her through the agencies and stuff. And so they get in contact with her and I really want Alec Fell to be there and just popping up every once in a while, just having like a sassy remark off in the distance while Zoe's on the phone and she's like, please be quiet. So, something like that.
That's amazing.
But yeah, because
So
I
we're
need
pretty much doing a spy prequel, sequel in a circus.
yeah, yeah. Hey,
Amazing.
this was originally written as my dream game for the Dream Game Challenge with the
Hmm.
Nancy Drew Network. So like this is yeah.
Yeah, I didn't even hear about that at all. So I'm glad. Like I'm just doing this
It was a while ago.
to allow more representation from people, and so people can have their like literal voices heard. But also, so there's Zoe, Bess, and Henry. Perfect.
And so are we getting to the like the location
Yep, we
things?
can. Yep, and then as you talk about them, talk about like which character is located where, so we can kind of get that visual too, if you have an idea of where they are.
Nice. Yeah, I do.
Perfect. Okay.
So we have I'm not sure if I want to have a big top because when I was in Circus, we didn't have a big top. We just had like the rigging and stuff and we'd perform it against the blue sky. Um so like that would be it would be really cool to have a big top, but like
Oh
I
yeah.
don't know what it's like, so I was like, maybe we should, maybe we shouldn't. Who knows? That may be a bit much for them to animate and stuff. And speaking of animation, there is like the first scene has a little bit of like the circus stuff, but it's barely anything, so it's like
Not too much. Not like Midnight in Salem Unity animation.
no, it's more like if they can animate a light falling on Rick Arlen and him diving out of the way, they can animate this.
Right.
Um,
That was such a glorious scene.
yes. But yeah, you have like the main circus area, and with that, it's kind of like this big thing with little areas. Like they have the bleachers area, they have the high wire wagon, they have the fly rig, they have the aerials rig, and they have the main ring, and then they have the calliope wagon.
Oh,
And
nice.
like yeah, and each the wire wagon that's where Derek hangs out because he's you know he's the wire guy. So he's always hanging out there, probably like fixing up the ratchets and the wires and stuff. So, and then the fly rig, that's where Danny hangs out. Danny hangs out near the fly rig and stuff.
Yep.
Because that's his thing. And then Morgan hangs out near the Ariel's rig. So she's always, just chilling there.
Just chilling.
Yeah. And the next location we have is the Cook Shack. And the Cook Shack is like, it's this semi-truck, but the cargo part of it is like this giant kitchen.
That makes sense. I see what you're saying.
Yeah. And like they have like this awning that they set up with it to where it's like a huge canopy that goes out over
So
tables.
Kathy has a crib. Kathy has a crib on her.
Oh, she does. And she's always up. She's always in the Cook Shack and just cooking stuff, like Shorty, but not creepy.
Crib. Yep. Yep.
Like Shorty, crib. But not. Oh, I'm sorry. Many cursed memes of Shorty.
Oh my gosh, I love it. I love it.
All these flashbacks. Okay. Next we have the President trailer wagon, which is where Antoine hangs out, and it's just a trailer, but with like he has it designed to where it's like an office at the first part of it, but it's all painted up to look all pretty and circusy for the vibes.
Because we need circus vibes. Come on.
We do need the vibes. And the next part we have is the tight wire training area, which is it's just this mini tight wire thing. It's about 1.5 feet off the ground, and that's where the Hardy Boys hang out because they're disguised disguised. They're undercover. Undercover as circus trainees.
It would be so funny if they were undercover as clowns.
Oh.
Could you imagine that? All right, so we are having some technical difficulties with this recording bot. We have just been driven crazy. So let's pick back up with the Hardy Boys and their goings on at the circus.
So Frank is learning to be a wire walker, and so that's how he's getting close to like Derek and them and stuff. And Joe is learning juggling, and so like that's his thing. He has the juggling clubs with him. But I'm thinking at the end of the game, because Nancy always has pictures of stuff at the end of the games.
Oh my gosh, are you going to have a picture of him on the tightrope?
I'm having a picture of Joe breathing fire.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
If that is not the best thing, then I don't know what is.
Yes, at Katie, Nancy Pants, Joe breathing fire.
Yes! Oh, she's loved that. But yeah, so we have them hanging out by the tight wire training area. And we also have like the area under the Cook Shack tarp with tables and stuff. So there'll probably be like a note left there or something, or like a bag she can snoop in. I don't know. She's gonna be snooping a lot in this game.
Amazing.
Yeah. But they also have like so she also sneaks into Danny and Morgan's trailer because they're sus, and so she finds some stuff there. And she also goes into there's the makeup tent, which is exactly what it sounds like.
Sounds like a tent where you do makeup.
Yeah. It has like one of those, those tables with like the mirrors with the lights around the edges and that neat stuff. So that's fun. And there's like diagrams on like how you do this person's makeup and how you do the clown makeup and stuff like that. And then there's also the costume tent, which is exactly what it sounds like. But it has like sequins and leotards and cummerbunds and tights and fringe and everything spread all over. There's just costumes everywhere. And
this is the kind of like atmosphere that I live in. Just like costumes spread out everywhere, and total like makeup filled trailer with a bunch of makeup. Like this is just what we do. So
Yeah,
it's so fitting. Even though it's like circus, I'm not a circus performer, but like it's just so fitting.
there's a lot of stuff with it. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, and Mara actually is hanging out in the costume tent, and so that's just where she just vibes and stuff. Yeah, and
Yeah. So
then we have,
gotcha.
we also have Nancy's tent because she gets her own personal tent.
Must be nice.
Yeah,
Wow.
it's a small tent. It's
Right.
probably one
It's
of
not
those
like the
little,
ringmaster tent.
yeah. It's like a one-person camping tent because when I was traveling with the circus, like we would have our own tents and stuff. Some people had trailers, some people had like the pop-up tent trailer things, but the majority of us were not rich, and so we had tents, and it was just tons and tons and tons of camping every year. So that was fun, and so that's what Nancy's doing. She has a tent. And
She has a tent.
The Hardys also have a tent. So yeah, that's what they do. They have tents.
Awesome tents.
And yeah, we do have other locations.
Ooh,
But they are, alas, spoilers. But you know what? It's spoiler time. I'm giving away spoilers.
Go ahead.
Near the end of the game, Nancy's going to find a trailer out back in the woods because it takes like I think I said it before. It takes place on a fairground, and
Right.
like so it's like
fairground.
mostly like a field, but there is like a forest behind it, and so she like finds like a trailer or something. She goes into the forest, and she finds this trailer that has like a bunch of like techie equipment, spy equipment and stuff, and there's proof of stuff that like Revenant was connected to all this counterfeiting, and so they're like, "Ooh, this is something," and so that's a big thing, and there is a little bit of a second chance that happens there later on.
We'll get to those. We'll get to second chances next, I think.
So those are the location.
Nice. So I can just it's your classic circus, pretty much. Just a classic.
Circuses are pretty easy to like imagine because they're just so cliche in a way. Like everybody knows what a circus looks like.
Yeah. Like everybody has this one image of a circus in their head that I feel like is like the same for everybody, and like you imagine like a big tent in the middle of everything, which is the big top, of course. So I think that you not having that makes it kind of suspend your disbelief kind of thing. So that's great.
We did have like with the other tents, we had a lot of smaller tents.
Yeah.
For like we had like the women's tent and the men's tent, and they would just like set up, and we'd put all the costumes for them in there and stuff. What are personal costumes in there?
Nice.
The costume tent would change every single time we'd set up because, like, well, this time we're having the costumes in the boys' tent, and this time in the girls' tent. And it was like, which tent this time? But yeah, it's not the most organized, but it's there.
It's the circus.
It's the circus.
Next, we have puzzles.
Ooh.
Have you thought of a bunch of puzzles that's running around this circus that you can find and solve?
Yes. So I was thinking there could be a puzzle in the Calliope wagon. There's like a secret compartment in there. And so Nancy needs to figure out how to open it up, and she finds a little message there about something. I'm not sure what the something is, but there's gotta be a little something there.
A little something.
Mm-hmm. And she's also gonna find like codes and stuff.
Nice.
Because like spies and codes kind of go hand in hand. So
now, is this going to be like the silent spy in terms of like Revenant communicates with her, or is like the Revenant going to be a kind of like speculation that it might be attributed to Revenant?
Revenant. Sure. Yeah, there's a lot of speculation about Revenant. And that's why Nancy was called in, because they're like, Revenant might be involved, but like they're not sure. And so they actually figure out, yeah, Revenant is definitely involved when Nancy finds the trailer out back in the woods.
Right, so they're not like directly contacting her like they did in Silent Spy, and this is just more of speculation till the very, very end when she comes across this trailer.
Yeah.
Nice. So there's a bunch of code puzzles, a bunch of stuff like that. Any other puzzles that you thought of, or just?
I really want to have some kind of Sudoku puzzle, because I love Sudoku.
No, please don't make it as big as the one in Shadow at the Water's Edge. I hate that puzzle.
I'm not that bad. I'm not that bad. Those puzzles.
It got so old in that game. So old.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, it got so old. I can't even think about it. I still to this day have not solved it without a walkthrough.
That big
wow.
Yeah, I actually solved the nonogram at the end the first time this year without a walkthrough. So
that's hard. Like that game is so hard. I don't feel like which sucks because I love the mystery. I love the idea of the haunted ryokan and the low key grudge plot line that happens here. But like just the puzzles turn me off hardcore.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Yeah. So other puzzle. This is more of like a mini game, but they also Nancy, since I did not specify this, but Nancy is undercover with the Hardys, but like she's undercover as a crew member for this, because like all circus they have crew members,
right?
And like which are the ones who like they help spot the acrobats and stuff. They help set up the mats and the other equipment like the teeter board and stuff like that when people like are going on to use them, stuff like that. They always need crew.
Always.
And so she's, so when they have another crew member, they don't question it at all.
Right.
So that's why Nancy's there, and she's great. But so since she's kind of like working there as like a worker, a crew member, she has the duty to help make a meal with Kathy at least once a day. And if it's not going to be every single meal like it was in Icicle Creek.
Right, another thing that got old real fast.
Yeah. And like you can choose which meal you want to make. Like if it's like between the breakfast hours, you can make the breakfast. If it's between the lunch, you can make the lunch. If it's between the dinner, you can make the dinner. And so it's like it just has to be like once a day.
And that's fair. You can choose which one you like best and do it.
Yeah, and if you skip it, the first time you skip it, Antoine will be like, okay, this is your final warning. But if she skips it the second time, he's like, okay, you're gone. Nobody's going to believe you that you're an actual worker if you're being this lazy. Just like
Chantal was. And like the first time, she's like, okay, Ollie will cook. And the second time, she's like, you're out of here. Yeah. Nice.
Yeah, and we also have another puzzle that is related to something that happens, an event that happens in the game. So, one plot thing that happens is that Mara, the ringmistress, she gets injured, and so she has to go to the hospital, and she can't perform as the ringmistress that night. And so Nancy has to fill in for the role.
Oh my god!
And so, either her or Antoine will give her like this little script. This little like crumpled up piece of paper that's like old. It has like the script of what the ringmistress is supposed to say, and she has to like read it and memorize it and stuff. Oh, that's exactly what Ewan says about the case file in Silent Spy. Sorry, that kind of I have that in my head, I guess.
Oh, that's fine. You're doing great.
Read it, memorize it.
Right, but, you're fine.
But anyway, totally. She has to. The puzzle isn't like you don't have to get it perfect in the game. Gotcha. But if you do get it perfect, if you do say all the right things at the right times and stuff, you do get an achievement at the end of the game.
Oh, good.
So, yeah. And so she, that's a fun puzzle, and it's not like one that's like, if you don't solve this, you die. It's like, if you do it absolutely terribly, you get taken off, and then, it's the second chance because you did it terribly, I guess. But if you just
died, you just got
if you do it like mediocre, you're fine.
Right.
as long as you don't completely bomb it,
mess it up.
Okay.
Yeah. But
yeah, and another puzzle that we have is costumes.
Oh, please.
It's
Yes.
gonna be kind of like Prudence Rutherford
I
in
wrote
Danger by Design, but less bunny
I
mask
wrote
and furry boots.
yeah, I wrote an alternate ending to Labyrinth of Lies where Nancy had to sort the costumes for the Persephone and Winter play. And I wrote
Ooh.
it for like back when like the her boards were a big thing. Um and you could write alternate endings for the games and stuff and post them. I wrote one about Lai, and I wrote that she had to do a costume sorting puzzle. She had to sort between the togas and like the boots and the that really was it, the togas and the boots and the headpieces. But like she did that and she got like a clue from it. So I'm digging this idea of like a costume kind of esque puzzle.
Yes. And I was thinking we could also have like a clown makeup puzzle later on. Like she designs the clown makeup too.
Like the facials in Resorting to Danger.
Yes! That's exactly what I was thinking.
Yes. I love that puzzle.
Because yeah, clown makeup is kind of a lot like that puzzle actually, because you have to like work it out and you have to put it on this
One
layers
side
and
of the
stuff.
face and then the other side of the face is
Yeah.
a different kind.
It
Yes.
really depends on the clown, because I've done clown makeup where it's like the entire face has been painted white and stuff, and then I've done clown makeup to where it's like just little colorful dots on your cheeks and on your eyes and stuff, and it really depends on the clown. But yeah, she can do that too. And well, the costumes one, I'm thinking it's going to be more of like setting it up for future acts, because like it's like hey, we got in some new costumes, but we're not sure if this costume should go with this specific act, and so we have like these specific requirements for every act.
Yeah. Right.
Like for the silks, there can't be any like fringe or a ton of sequins because that'll rip on the silks and it'll be all bad. And then like on the span sets, which is a very rare circus act, but it's the one that I specialized in when I was in circus.
Oh,
But
nice.
it's like the fabric of the span sets is like if cheese graters were fabric. It's
Wow, cheese
awful.
graters.
So you have to have like a leotard with like sleeves and like shorts on the bottom to protect your legs. And so that hurts. Or
I
like
bet it
that could
hurts.
be like a requirement for a costume for that. Like there are different requirements for each costume, so that she has to like organize them and stuff. So that's cool.
Yeah, I'm digging that. I love anything costume related.
Yeah,
There needs to be
and
more of those.
we have a mini game, tie dye. You can tie dye shirts because when I
Oh,
was
yes.
when I was
Please.
with my circus, we would just print out shirts, like plain white shirts with the logo just plain white on it, and then they'd crumple them up, they'd tie dye them, and they'd come out and it would just be the circus logo on tie dye, and each shirt was completely different, and they sold like crazy because everybody was like, "Wow, this is a cool shirt." And so
I'm
that would be
imagining her.
really, really fun mini game.
I'm imagining her making a freaking tie dye horse shirt, and it's so
Yeah.
funny to me. Just like the concept of a tie dye horse shirt that she just wears around the circus. It'd be so
Oh.
freaking funny.
Hey, Morgan would love it.
Morgan would like her and Morgan have a girls' night and make tie dye matching horse shirts.
That's
Oh my gosh.
that is the worst fashion thing. That is the biggest fashion atrocity to ever happen.
But we need it to happen though.
Yes.
Just for completion purposes.
All right, so those
Oh,
are all the puzzles that I have at this moment.
nice. The next part is to kind of walk me through the game in the order that you would complete the game. And then if there's any second chances that you haven't talked about yet, whenever you get to that point of the game, just stop and say, "Hey, there's a second chance here where she can do this or that." So we'll start. What's the opening scene that you were talking about earlier? That's like so animated. What is that? And then just walk me through the game to the end, and we'll get to the corporate at the end and all that stuff.
All right, so the opening scene of the entire game is Nancy just at her desk, and then the Hardys call her, and she talks to the Hardys, and then boom! Suddenly, she's over at the circus. She's
Transport.
flown over from is it Illinois? Is that where she lives?
River
Or
Heights, wherever that. Yeah, it's never answered.
it's in the Midwest, I think, somewhere. But anyway, she
Yeah.
goes over there. She goes over to Idaho, which is where the game takes place in Idaho. But she flies over there and she goes to the circus and she walks up and she sees a fly act going on, but all she sees is Danny throwing Morgan back, but she falls. And
Oh my
Nancy's
gosh.
like, "Oh my gosh, no." And then like Morgan's absolutely fine. And she's like, this happens all the time. We're just trying to figure out a new trick. We fall all the time when we're practicing. It's okay.
Yeah, we fall all the time. It's just natural.
Yeah. Yeah, because when I was in the circus, they would constantly do flight practices, and sometimes they would just practice falling. Because
Right.
you need, if you don't fall correctly, you can get hurt. But
Oh,
you
I'm
just
sure. Yeah.
you gotta know. But anyway, she meets Morgan, and Nancy's like, "Wow, that was really cool." And Morgan's like, "Yeah, you should talk to Antoine." And so immediately after that, she has to go talk to Antoine. He gives her like the rundown. This is your cover. Da 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 da. And then like she goes and talks to the other characters. And so
Nice.
she talks to the characters. She figures out little things. She snoops. She does a lot of snooping. And here are some things that we figure out about the characters.
Ooh,
So,
do share. Do tell. Do tell the tea.
so the first thing, well, we already know about Kathy and her son, so that we don't have to go over that as much right now. But Danny, let's go to Danny, the catcher for the Flyers. He since he's really closed off about his past and anything circus related, and it's
Right.
because when he was young, he got into a really bad group of people and kids and stuff, and he actually went to juvie for stealing cars. And when he
Oh
got
wow.
out, he went back to school and he got into circus arts, which was an after school program. And that's why he is in circus, because he was so immersed in the circus that kind of helped him become himself again.
Nice. Yeah.
And
I see what you
so
mean.
the reason why he was gone during certain events, like in the past and even sometimes in the game, is because he's out helping at after school programs and kind of talking with people about them, because he knows how
Gotcha.
important it is
Right.
for kids who don't really have any other place to go and who would otherwise get in trouble and stuff. And so he's like, this is important. We needed to do this. We need to have
Oh.
after school programs. And he doesn't really want anybody to know that he went to jail when he was a kid and stuff. And so Morgan also covers for him and stuff. And so it's like, oh, yeah, he's out doing this and stuff. Or like, oh, I was with him. And so
How
that's
does
why they seem sus,
how does
because
Nancy find out that he was in jail?
I think she'll get something from like she and the Hardys will run like a huge background check and
Oh,
stuff,
gotcha.
and
Gotcha.
like he's probably changed his name or something, so people won't really connect him with his past.
They're like,
And
"Oh, that's
kind of
his face. That's Danny's
yeah,
face."
that's
Yeah,
his
let's do like a
face.
picture. That's his face. That you got some explaining to do, Danny, because that's your face
Yeah,
in this headshot.
but yeah, and so that's that kind of like it doesn't clear them, but like we get like that's why that's happening.
Yeah,
And
I see.
then later in the game, we find out that but we do find out later in the game that Kathy Sanders, the whole thing with her son, we actually found out what happened, because we know her son died in a car crash, but she was like, she gives the specific details, like there was something that happened with his car that is impossible because he was extremely responsible with his car, so there's no way this could have happened on accident. And so she's like, I just really wish somebody could help me with this whole thing. And
Right.
so we actually do find out, because Nancy does snoop around and find stuff from her son, and her son seems to be involved with Revenant.
Ooh, oh my!
And
And
so
that's
Nancy, yeah,
just
and
like
so
what happened to Kate, because they say it was a
yeah.
car accident. I see
And
what you did there.
also another thing in the Silent Spy is when Alec was first connected to Revenant, he was investigating a car crash. And so
wow.
Revenant has a pattern.
Yeah, like if there's a car crash,
there's something suspicious
it's
going on here.
Revenant.
But yeah, so Nancy's like, huh, that is a bit suspicious.
That is sus, yes.
And then Mara Taurabi, the ring mistress, she gets too close to something during the game. And so she, or does she, but she gets injured somehow. I don't remember how I did it. Maybe she fell off the bleachers or something, but to where she can't stand up, and like the whole thing happens to where she has to go to the hospital for a while, and Nancy takes over, and then she comes back after that with like a boot on her leg or something.
Right.
But so she, like, Nancy interviews her about stuff like that, and she tells her all these things that she thinks are weird, like little, like she's the one who actually tells Nancy about the little path she found in the woods, which
That
actually
leads
leads
to the trailer?
to, yeah, but
Gotcha.
she wasn't able to go like into the woods because she she had to go prepare for stuff because circus stuff, you gotta prepare, but
Always.
she used that. But hold up,
Nice.
haha. But yeah, and I'm looking through my notes. I have a lot of notes. But yeah, okay. So I think we're at the end game now.
Oh yes, let's find out
So,
who the big fatty is.
So the end game. Nancy gets into the trailer, and
Right.
she does more research, and she finds some very suspicious recordings of conversations for, insurance purposes, I guess. I don't know. And guess whose voice is on there?
Whose?
Derek's, the wire walker.
No!
Yeah! And I don't
Derek was the ginger, right? Like the hot ginger?
Yes.
You made it the hot ginger? Oh my god.
Yes, I did.
Oh my gosh.
But
the
yeah,
hot ginger.
The hot ginger is the bad guy. I know.
Oh my gosh.
But his thing is that a few years ago, he and Kathy's son were contacted by Revenant to help slowly dismantle society and by running the counterfeiting ring.
By paying terrorists, pretty much.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah. And they were promised like positions of power after, the society was overturned and stuff. With the whole Revenant thing, it was just really weird but really intriguing. But so what they were doing was they were silently running it, and they had people who were Revenant operatives kind of distributing the money. They would just kind of bring it in through the circus quietly.
Right.
And like if they gave people cash back for what they bought for like souvenirs and stuff, the cash they would give them back would be counterfeit. And like since it's just nobody cared, it's a circus, they don't check the money.
Yeah, like circus money, like what?
You just, it's cash. That's what you do.
Take what you can get, and you don't complain.
So Kathy's son, when he didn't like it. It got too much for him, and so he decided he wanted out of it, and he was going to go to the authorities. And so that's why his death was staged with the car accident.
Wow.
And Derek, actually, this is something that Nancy will learn sometime during the game, is that Derek actually did shop class and stuff in high school, so he knows his way around cars and building things and stuff like that. And so he knew enough to tamper with the car to make it look like an accident. And so that's what he did.
That makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
And he also, like, since he's been with the circus for a long time, like his parents were really, he had rich parents that were like really strict and stuff, and they needed something for him to blow off steam with, and so he joined the circus when he was like a kid, and he was just so trusted by the circus that nobody suspected he would do anything against anyone at the circus.
Yeah.
And, he was kind of sick of just being like the lowly wire walker. And I was like, you know what? I want power.
I want power.
Yeah. Which, is kind of a human thing. Sometimes people just want power. But anyway, so at the end, Nancy goes to get out of the trailer to confront him, but he's already there. So he finds her there, and he's like, hey, good luck escaping this trailer. And he's like, yeah, by the way, the show's about to start. It's a pity you'll miss the show. And so he locks her in there and with a little bomb, because why not?
Make it spicy, not just locking her in there, walking in with a bomb.
Yes. And so she's in there with the bomb. She has to defuse the bomb. And when she gets out, if she doesn't die with the second chance, but but when she gets out, she runs straight to the show, and the show is just beginning when she gets out, because it's the beginning of one of the other acts. And so Mara's out there with her boot and stuff, and her crutches or something, just doing the ring mistress part again, because she's a trooper. But she gets out there and she's saying, like, and now for this act. And then Nancy's like, and now for the final act, we catch a terrorist.
Oh my god.
So she's like, stop him. But, like, he's probably, like, up in the high wire stuff, so nobody can get to him, but he can't get down. And so it's those situations.
He's just kind of, like, hanging there.
Yeah. So he's just up there, and the other people are, like, they force him to get down and stuff. And the game ends and stuff. And it's a good ending. And, Nancy gets to call Zoe for a lot of things with Revenant, and you get to hear a lot of things through her about, like, what Revenant does, like, with the car crashes and stuff. And so Zoe at the end she has a lot more hints about Revenant, and so she's still going there, and so you get that. But the best, I will say, the best thing about the end of the game is definitely going to be the picture of Joe breathing fire.
Absolutely. I think I'm going to make an edit with them wearing, like, clown wigs and putting that as, like, I've been doing my no context spoilers. I think I'm just going to do one for this game, and it literally be the Hardy Boys wearing clown wigs.
No.
Yep, that's going to be all that it is. So that way people will tune in and be like, what's that all about? Great. So that was very amazing, very immersive. My final 3 questions are, the first one is, like, all of the games have, well, let's do cover art first. What does the cover art look like in your mind?
Aha, all right. So we have the backdrop of the circus.
Right.
So we'll have, like, mostly red backdrop with, like, maybe, like, a silhouette of Mara doing the ring mistressing stuff in the background, the circus wagons in the background and stuff, and maybe, like, a silhouette of the trapeze artists. But the thing that I actually put in with mine when I first designed it for the Dream Game Challenge was the center piece of it, I guess, was Morgan on the Lyra hoop, doing a little pose on the Lyra hoop just in the center of the cover art, which would be really cool.
Yeah, that would be awesome. Another question is, how all of the games have, like, a color attributed to them, like Crystal Thornton Hall has a red disc, and, like, so, like, what color, like, if you could, like, make a disc of this game, like, what color is it? What's the mood color? This
would definitely be a red disc.
A red disc,
like,
awesome.
A bright, fiery kind of a red.
Nice.
Like, I know Danger by Design is a red, but it's more of, like, a purpley red.
Crystal Thornton Hall is, like, fire red.
Yeah.
So,
this is, like,
yeah,
circus red. You know what I mean? It's, like, bright. There you go, right in front of you. Circus. Yeah.
Yeah. And then the last thing, I'm gonna give you my potential title, and then you tell me the real title. I don't want to go all basic, like the Big Top Mystery, but I mean that's like what I want to call it, but I don't want to be basic. I'm guessing something like Counterfeit in the Circus. Nancy Drew Counterfeit in the Circus. I would call it that.
I called it Secrets at the Circus, which is kind of like a cliche name, but I couldn't come up with anything better at the time. But it worked. Because it's like,
Yeah.
there are secrets at
At
the
the circus.
circus.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. So this was Nancy Drew's Secrets at the Circus. With Ray, who you can find under Paw Pennies and Bento Boxes. Or your main is Aspie and Ginger Blonde, correct?
Yes.
Awesome. Thank you, Ray. That was amazing, very immersive, and thanks for sharing about your life in the circus because I did not know that. That's awesome.
Yeah.
You have definitely like a good basis to base the game off of. And we will be back next week. Bye.